Hello there, my name is Matthew Pillmore. I'm the president of VIP Financial Education and lead instructor, and it is my great pleasure to show you some of the most extraordinary financial strategies that you may ever learn. The following tactics are extremely effective, they're completely legal, and they're available for anybody to benefit from. However, if you use some of them incorrectly, they can also cause you years of harm. So to avoid that, make sure you complete today's training and then schedule part 2 of the training, which is a free one-on-one phone coaching session with one of our certified experts who will show you how the techniques apply to your unique circumstances. The secret to understanding business credit and accessing these amazing tools is to accept that in spite of what all the business credit companies are selling as a magic potion, there really is no secret. The only reason that business credit companies can claim that there's some big secret that you're missing is because they know that you simply don't understand the steps necessary to just go out and get these tools. Anybody can do it, literally. I have a $50,000 business line of credit that's unsecured, which we categorize as a debt weapon that literally has changed my entire professional career. The business credit industry is drowning in self-proclaimed experts who oversell and make promises which are impossible to fulfill. Without proper knowledge and education, you could invest heavily in solutions that don't fit your needs or get you what you're hoping for. We'll make sure to talk a little bit more about that in this training to help you avoid the pitfalls of common industry sales tactics. Now keep in mind that this is a multi-part training where we're going to dispel the so-called secrets of business credit scores and business loans. The first objective in this short chapter is to quickly review who VIP is and why we're considered the authority on credit scoring, which makes us very valuable to any American who uses banks for checking or savings purposes. Now, we're also going to discuss whether business credit is able to benefit the average person or business owner. And finally, we'll review the must-knows of business credit scores and loans, as well as the exact steps to fast-track your business credit goals. I also want to talk a little bit about how you can expand revenue streams for your business by having access to this knowledge. Now, if you appreciate the value of the classes that VIP provides, please share the website with your friends, family, clients, and coworkers, and review our residual income training to learn how you could be paid up to 6 figures residually as an affiliate by sharing these powerful classes with people you know. Let's briefly review VIP's credentials and why we are so honored to be sharing with you. We were originally founded in 2000 by banking and real estate leaders with over 400 years of combined industry experience and expertise. Now, at that time, we started collecting feedback forms from viewers like you, which helped us build the trainings that are here today. And yours will help us know what to keep and what to improve for next time. So please make sure and give us your feedback as well. It's also because of visitors like you who care about others and share these classes with their loved ones, their clients and their coworkers, etc., that we're currently seen in over 15 countries, and we're able to bring them to you for free. Similarly to our other trainings, we'll even provide you a second part to this training, which is completely free, and that's the free private one-on-one phone coaching hour with a certified expert who will help you start your plan to practice the powerful techniques that you learn in the trainings and more. Now, this, of course, comes as a token of our appreciation for completing a few brief feedback questions at the end. Although only 6 out of 10 people do qualify for our ongoing coaching service, everybody is able to get significant value from the free session. So I encourage you to learn more about VIP at aboutvipfinancialeducation.com, where you'll find countless reviews from people that may be just like you, who have had varying success using these strategies that you're going to be learning by going through all of our trainings. Now, to date, we've built our trainings for thousands of different companies and individuals, providing both online and on-site classes. And we do so completely free of charge, just like you're participating in now. The information that we teach has become so popular that organizations of all sizes have asked us to build similar education for their employees and their members. And you can see a few of them here, companies like NASA through FFW or Chicago Title. We've done big churches, many of the largest real estate agencies, including RE/MAX Professionals, and we've also found a great home with countless real estate investor associations, as well as the police department. Now, to verify our reputation further, I do encourage you to see our A+ Better Business Bureau rating, as well as additional information pertaining to our 100% debt-free for life class through NASA. Here's a brief testimonial from Karen Myers about that. She says, "I'm the program director that's been offering the VIP debt-free education to the employees of NASA, and in one word, awesome. We've received wonderful feedback, and we plan to increase the availability of this curriculum. I would strongly recommend this curriculum to anybody." Let's review a couple of housekeeping details, and then we're going to get right into the fun stuff. My mission now is to show you concepts that can change your life. However, there is a lot to cover in a short period of time, which can make it difficult for some viewers to absorb it all the first time through. Therefore, to get the most from this training, please make sure you turn off your phone, remain distraction-free. Also, make sure you take notes and write down your questions, because all of your questions will be addressed specifically during the second part of the training in your complimentary 1-hour phone coaching session. Even if you take advantage of the free session provided in the 100% debt-free for life training, you'll actually get another free session with this business credit training should you want one. Make sure you get both, because you want to make sure that you don't follow the exact steps that we're using to demonstrate how powerful these techniques can be, since your circumstances will be different. Now, don't be afraid to visit the website to review any of our chapters or trainings over and over again with absolutely no registration or obligation. Please note also that this presentation is for educational purposes only, and we do conservatively estimate the numbers in order to help simplify what you're seeing. We always do our best to ensure the accuracy of the education. However, inexactness is realistic and results do always vary. In some cases, we protect names for anonymity purposes as well, unless somebody's given us permission to share who they were in their demonstrations. The training is not a substitute for investment, legal, or tax advice, and it's also not a promotion for products or services. In fact, there's nothing for you to buy here today. We will briefly discuss resources and solutions that are available to those who need them. However, again, you will never be pressured to purchase anything from VIP. For guidance pertaining to your specific situation or the governing laws in your state, please consult with a qualified specialist and make sure you complete your free coaching session from our certified experts. So why business credit? There are seemingly countless reasons to have and use business credit. Anything from debt elimination techniques that are taught in our other training to credit scoring benefits and the obvious of funding any type of business, including real estate investing. I've recruited none other than Michael Stenson from Orange County to help you with your free coaching session. He's a nationally known leading expert on the secrets that every business owner wants pertaining to business credit. Michael and I are going to challenge some of the most commonly used sales tactics so that you can avoid being trapped as you begin your hunt for more business credit. Now, before we do that, I'd like to conceptually prove the value of the information that you're going to get. So through this first part, I'm going to walk you through a case study of somebody that took advantage of all the benefits that are listed in green. Although they accomplished all of these results through a property management company that they owned, these benefits are important to nearly any business owner in any industry. Now, this is somebody in our coaching program. However, they'd prefer that we protect their names in order to help them remain confidential, so that we will do. And the reason this is a perfect example is that we found almost everybody will probably associate with some part of this. In our 100% debt-free for life class, we've designed an easy-to-follow 7-step process, and we've done the same here with a 7-step business credit roadmap. Within the first week of reviewing this training, the first basic step for you, if you haven't already, is to establish a foundation or an entity. This step is very easy. It should take only a short period of time online through your local Secretary of State website, typically for a small cost. Following creating your entity, you'll then need to identify existing fundability and build profiles with business credit bureaus. Some people already have these and some don't. So it really depends on where you are starting. Let's start by reviewing the chronological expectations of this process. Within 6 months, we hope to open select vendor accounts, which is important to establishing the business credit scores. And within 9 months, we start opening unsecured business credit cards. Keep in mind, many people start with step 5. Within 18 months of step 1, creating an entity, we establish unsecured business financing, which is an incredible tool, and it can be used in a variety of ways to benefit you. For many people, this can happen much sooner. It just depends on how many of these preliminary steps you've already completed. And within 24 months, our goal is to begin using the new business debt weapons to start cash flow stacking, which we review in greater detail through later chapters and trainings. Let's start by reviewing these last 3 steps in order to show you how it was possible for this business owner to acquire unsecured business credit cards and then later establish unsecured business financing. I'll then demonstrate how they invested with business debt weapons and rapidly expanded their business and financial goals. Now, the first thing that we realized was their need to increase personal credit scores, just like in our 100% Debt-Free for Life training with Dan and Megan. Personal credit scores are important, even when building business credit. To raise their scores quickly, we used a little-known technique which involved a business debt weapon. Now, keep in mind, you should never be done looking for more debt weapons. There are about 16 different categories of very effective debt weapons available at any given time. To gain a better understanding of the different types of uses of debt weapons, make sure you watch the 100% Debt-Free for Life training on the website. For purposes of this example, we're going to refer to these students as Tom and Susan. When we first met Tom and Susan, their available debt weapons were limited to just a few credit cards, including 2 small personal credit cards, one with a $2,000 available limit and the second a $4,250 available limit. Although they had $6,250 of total availability on these 2 accounts, there was already a combined balance of $5,400 in total personal debt that was borrowed from that availability, which means that the original utilization ratio, the amount borrowed compared to the amount owed, was at 86%, which is a very negative impact to their personal credit scores. 30% of your personal credit scores is determined by this utilization ratio. To determine your utilization ratios, simply use the Cash Flow Cruncher spreadsheet that VIP provides. Would you like your very own copy of this great tool? Simply provide us your brief feedback at the end of today's training, and you'll instantly get your own free copy of this great spreadsheet to use to achieve all your business credit and debt management goals. The higher the utilization ratio, the greater the penalty to personal credit scores. So to quickly help with that, Tom and Susan began by opening an unsecured business debt weapon in the amount of $6,500. Because Tom had the better personal credit scores when we first met them, Susan was unable to open this type of business debt weapon. So Tom used his information only to apply. They then transferred the $5,400 in total personal consumer debts to their new business debt weapon, which cost a total of $162 in balance transfer fees. However, the benefit to that is the new interest rate was now 0%. And because about 9 out of every 10 business debt weapons do not report to the personal credit bureaus, the new utilization ratio became 0. And these 2 joint accounts begin significantly improving the credit scores of both Tom and Susan, thereby working for them versus against them. Let's review all of the benefits of this one step. First, they got a 47-point average FICO increase by taking this one step. Secondly, they prevented interest costs because this debt weapon was a 0% introductory rate. Furthermore, they received insurance discounts because most insurance providers determine their rates based partially on credit worthiness. Therefore, their cash flow increased also. Now keep in mind that when you have a 0% interest rate, 100% of the monthly payment is going to pay down principal. So we look at that as an indirect form of cash flow. Finally, we were able to point them to additional debt weapons as a result of their new credit scores. Their goal was to establish unsecured business financing and increase their business opportunities. Until you've seen all the trainings, it can be difficult to recognize the many opportunities that debt weapons offer, especially business debt weapons. So let's break it down further as we continue with this example. You can see here their personal debt weapons listed, as well as the new business debt weapon of $6,500. Now, after showing them how to accelerate the elimination of their original balances, we helped Tom open a new personal debt weapon in the amount of $9,500. And this was also at 0% on an initial introductory term. And only because their personal credit scores had improved were they able to access this. Simultaneously, Susan now opened a new $4,000 business debt weapon in her name. As property managers, they also own a number of rental properties of their own. One tenant that was renting from them had six $500 loans that she had borrowed through a company called Payday Loans. Now, unfortunately, at that time, Payday Loans was allowed to charge $150 in interest and fees every month on each one of these 6 loans, which totaled $900 in interest and fees every single month. And she'd been paying on this for approximately 11 months with no progress to her principal reduction. The predatory lending elements of this deserve no review. However, let's take a look at the risks that were involved. First, cash flow is obviously a risk, right? And being a single mother of a 10-month-old at that time, this tenant was struggling to pay the rent. I actually met this tenant, very sweet lady, but incredibly emotionally impacted by this. Now, if she ends up getting behind on her payments, Tom and Susan may end up having a costly eviction to deal with. Furthermore, any lapse in tenants would result in expensive vacancy costs. The new opportunity that they found through creative utilization of these new debt weapons was powerful. Now, keep in mind that this specific example is not something that very many people are going to be able to do. However, what I want you to take away from this small portion of this training is that many opportunities open up when you properly utilize these available debt weapons. And here was the opportunity for them. They used from this $9,500 debt weapon $3,000, and they agreed to pay off this tenant's payday loan. Now, by doing so, the $900 in interest and fees every month went away, which gave her a much-needed increase to her cash flow in order to help pay the rent on time every month. They then agreed to modify her lease, whereby they increased her rent by $500 a month for 1 full year, and then they increased the rent by $1,000 the 13th month. And it was predetermined that the rent would return to its original rate on month 14, which encouraged her to actually stay longer. So the total revenue earned over a 13-month period was $7,000, nearly a 125% return on their investment. Arguably, the ROI on this investment was infinite because the original $3,000 that was borrowed was on a 0% debt weapon. Therefore, they spent no money out of their own pocket to make this happen. So let's take a look at the benefits of this example. First, their cash flow increased by nearly $440 monthly during that period of time. Also, Tom and Susan made a total profit of $4,000. Now, obviously, it created the stability for their tenant to pay the rent on time every month. And she went from paying $900 a month with no reduction in principal to paying $500 a month, saving $400 every single month, plus the debt would be paid off in full by the end of that year. The ability for her to do this was extremely meaningful to Tom and Susan because they're caring people and they liked that they could help her out. They were very happy to create this solution for her. The next example of an opportunity that business debt weapons might provide could be considered more common. Imagine for a moment somebody in your sphere of influence who's gone through a short sale or a foreclosure. We all know somebody that's had challenges on their credit. That's very, very common. When personal credit scores get injured, there is something called universal default that happens with credit. Universal default means that credit card companies will universally default their interest rates to a very high rate, sometimes as high as 25 to 30%. However, in many cases, we see people who experience this, but really aren't risky borrowers at all. They make great money, they pay their bills on time. The problem is they just got over their head, typically with some type of an opportunity like real estate or something like that, or maybe even a medical challenge. It doesn't mean that they're not going to pay their bills on time. Many of them are actually great borrowers with a very high cash flow position and are very dependable. Imagine lending to someone and collecting a 15 to 20% interest rate return. Many people have successfully created promissory notes with these types of returns and then used the funds available from a business debt weapon at 0% to satisfy the higher interest rate debt of the borrower that they're working with. Imagine taking someone who has, let's say, $20,000 in consumer debts and is paying at 25 to 30% and then transferring over $5,000 or less lump sum amounts to 0% debt weapons and then charging 15% interest. That's a win-win scenario. You win by earning 15% rate of return utilizing 0% introductory debt weapons, money that's not even yours, and yet you're also protecting yourself legally. If that individual were to default, which is always a risk, you could litigate legally in small claims with notes valued at $5,000 or less. And obviously you'd want to consult with an attorney to get the legal advice on this before doing anything like it. However, it's an example. Now, obviously we don't know your specific circumstances and we can't offer you advice until we go through your one-on-one free coaching session. But what I hope you see is that there are a lot of opportunities when you think out of the box and understand how to access capital through debt weapons. The next portion of business credit includes cash flow stacking and investing with business debt weapons, as well as business development using business debt weapons. As many people know, there are a lot of investment opportunities through life insurance and even real estate in many areas of the country. Tom and Susan acquired a new unsecured business debt weapon for $40,000. Now, this is very similar to a $50,000 business debt weapon that I've been using personally over and over since 2006 for a variety of investment opportunities, both business and real estate. It's a phenomenal tool because, like most other business debt weapons, it does not report to my personal credit report, which means that although this type of line of credit has a personal guarantee attached to it, I can spend 100% of what's available, and it has absolutely no impact to my personal credit scores unless I default, and then the negative history would report. Whereas other types of lines of credit would have minimal access available without starting to harm your personal credit scores. So Tom and Susan decided with their coach to borrow 25% of the purchase price and buy an investment rental property using $31,250 as a down payment. They then borrowed $5,000 more to make basic repairs, which were all cosmetic, primarily because they plan to keep the property as a rental and enjoy the long-term cash flow benefits. Let's evaluate the numbers. A $125,000 purchase price using $31,250 down, as well as $5,000 into fix-up, their new mortgage was $93,750 at 4.75%, which was a non-owner occupied interest rate at this time. They got a $489 principal and interest payment. They also were spending approximately $225 on average throughout the year, each month, for maintenance as well as their taxes and insurance, which meant that after their $1,250 per month rental income, they averaged $536 in cash flow every month. Now, most people I know would do this kind of deal all day long. Don't forget, this is an infinite ROI because the original investment was borrowed from their business debt weapon. They didn't put any money out of pocket. They then start to cash flow stack, utilizing the techniques that they learned through their coach, as well as in our free 100% debt-free for life, including mortgages training. Cash flow stacking increases their investing and debt elimination momentum because they're able to allow their newfound cash flow to work for them every day of the year versus sitting idly in a checking or a savings account for the majority of the month. Now, obviously, this leads to wealth development over time and accelerated debt elimination. The more times they do this, the faster the results take place, eventually allowing them to pay off properties in full every few years. Their final goals were to execute on a much larger business development scale by utilizing additional business debt weapons. You can see the additional business debt weapons listed here in the 7th and final step. At this stage, they qualified for another unsecured $175,000 business debt weapon. Now, although not everybody has a need for business debt weapons this large, nor will most people qualify for them, Tom and Susan had the cash flow to substantiate it. In fact, some people who have the cash flow are able to get far more than this in unsecured business debt weapons, some of which don't even require the personal guarantee. They use that new capital to fund a fleet of landscaping trucks, and they hire 5 new employees. There was a $110,000 upfront cost, but it produced for them a projected $7,800 cash flow each month. Over 16 months with proper cash flow stacking, they were able to become debt-free on the $110,000 that they borrowed, and the benefits included huge cash flow returns. Finally, because of their ongoing company growth, they invest in the protection that they need by utilizing the infinite banking concept, which we teach about in another one of our free classes. These types of life insurance policies were first made popular by an extraordinary man by the name of Nelson Nash. By using their debt weapon to invest in the policy each year, they get a healthy rate of return on the cash value as well as the death protection for the company. Furthermore, over time, these policies can gradually eliminate the need for banking in their lives ever again. If you're interested in learning how you can gradually eliminate the need for banks in your life, please fill out the brief feedback form after the training, and we'll email you access completely free. This, of course, does not substitute for financial advice, so make sure you consult with your trusted professional about the benefits of these tools. If you do need a professional to speak with, we can introduce you to some who have very positive and knowledgeable reputations. Now, this decision produces for them additional liquidity, and it makes it easy for them to invest more money more quickly and safely. So you can see in just 5 quick steps how valuable business credit was to just one couple in one company. If any part of this seemed interesting, valuable, or intriguing to you, then you won't want to miss the second part of this training, where we'll share exactly how to get yourself these tools that you'll need to produce similar results. Please visit the website to watch part 2 now.